Hello and greeting to all the people of the world, wherever you are, whoever you are. The warmest Baha'i greeting of Allah Akbar. This segment would be, I named it as philosophical answer to the scientific questions. And I dedicate it to Mr. Stephen Hawking, the master of survival. In his latest book that I just recently got, he says, quote, on the page 5 of the book called The Grand Design, he says, traditionally, these are the questions for philosophy, but philosophy is dead. Philosophy has not kept up with the modern development in science, particularly physics. Scientists have become the bearer of the torch of the discovery in our quest for knowledge. With respect to what he says, I would somehow agree with it, because as I said, a divine philosophy, which would be the philosophy as we think about it, or people think about it. The source of it is religion, which would be the construction of the Book of God. In the Islam and Christianity, and other religions, a long time ago, they're dead, they're turned into black holes. The suns are gone. Those suns are turned into black holes. But there is a new sun of reality, which is Baha'i faith. And Baha'u'llah, if one study that, then he'll find very nice, very beautiful philosophical answers to many scientific questions. So, let's get on with it. One of the things Abdul Baha says, he says, for everything in this universe there's an end, there is a center. So, this is one of the prime directive. I've mentioned a few of them. This is one of them. That everything would have to have a center. But science tells us that there is no center for the universe. There's no such things, they say. So how do we answer this? Pretty much like scientific ways, how the science works. Let's say that if you multiply 2 into 2 several times, so 2 times 2 becomes 4, and 4 times 4 becomes 16, and 16 times 16 becomes something else. So based on that, you could imagine what would be the sequence if there's 10 times a 2 is multiplied by itself. You can predict that scientifically. So in the same kind of a manner, the philosophy works, or a scientific philosophy, a philosophy that has to be based on science and follows that. The same manner. So, I say that if we go to this prime directive of Abdul Baha and try to see what it means in reality, we can see an atom has a center. That center would be the nucleus, which is most of the weight of the atom is there. If you look in the earth, it has a center. Everything has a center. If you go further up, if you look into our solar system, there's a center there again, is the sun. So nature rules, God rules through the scepter of gravity in the nature, which is most of the mass is in the center. And if we go on, we see also in the galaxies, huge galaxies like Milky Way and Andromeda, there's huge galaxies, there's huge centers, there might be a black hole in the center, but whatever it is, there is a center. So if I go on like this, when I see the center in the atom and the earth and the solar system and the galaxy, of course I would think that just like the way exponentially we multiply 2 into itself 10 times or whatever times, the same manner if we go on, we can see there has to be a center for the higher structure, which is the universe. But this may not be acceptable to a lot of scientists, that they say that is not the way to go and find out that there is a center. We have to see them. But philosophy, that's how the philosophy, my philosophy anyways, answers. I'll look at the evidences and I answer philosophically. Because if anything explodes, usually, most of the mass stays in the center. At least that is how they say the solar system is formed. From a giant, molecular clouds, that it collapses on its weight, and most of the weight stays in the center, which would be the sun. And as it disrupts, like a ring forms around it from which all these planets are formed. So if that is the case, it could be the same way the Big Bang, the explosion happens in manifold directions. Therefore, maybe most of the mass is stayed in the center. But it's not as simple as that. When they said that, when Einstein brought the theory of relativity, they told him that, there can't be a center for the universe. Universe expands, it's just becoming bigger and bigger. And he created a cosmological constant in his theory to say that there is a universal gravity that holds the universe together. And I also philosophically say and think that we're looking for a dark matter right now in the universe, as the balance of the energy and the power in the universe is not explained by the visible matter. We say that there must be something else. This dark matter that we cannot find because we say it's not visible, it's not detectable, maybe it is in the center of the universe, around which everything collides, rotates. But science says now all the galaxies are going away, and there is clearly Edwin Hubble, the famous astronomer who used to be a lawyer. Then he went to astronomy and he looked in the telescope and he saw that all these galaxies are going towards the redshift, which means higher frequency. Therefore, they're going further away from each other. Therefore, universe is expanding. But I'm saying that, what about the local group of galaxies? Why they show sometimes a blue shift, which is the sign of getting closer? Maybe this red shift that we see from the galaxies is they are going further away for the moment, but at some point, I don't know, millions of years, galaxies, they might come back, and the same galaxies, they might show a blue shift because they might be, revolving around a huge center in the universe. Basically, this would be my philosophical answer, that there could be center in the universe. I'm going to go to the next subject that talks about the forces in the physical world. There are three of these forces over in the atom, and on the study quantum mechanics, you can see that the strong force that keeps the quarks, the component of the proton, together through a force called gluon. The carrier of this force is gluon, a particle, an energy particle. And then there's weak interactions, which holds the electron and proton and neutrino in the neutron, which is the weak force, they call it. And the electromagnetic force, that is interaction between the electron and proton. And the gravity, which is relativity always deals with gravity, is an outside of the atom, essentially. That's its realm. So as a result, we have two types of physics. the one physics inside the atom, the other physics outside of them, they don't go together, and they're trying to find some kind of a TOE, theory of everything, that maybe explains how these forces coming from one source. I speculate as a philosopher who studied Baha'i faith, and I'm saying that, isn't that when a black hole is formed, when a sun several times bigger than our own, when it collapses, that's the energy inside the sun, the hydrogen turns into helium and it runs out of fuel, and it collapses on its weight and it creates what's known as black hole. So powerful of a energy that it has such a force that even the light cannot escape from it. The light that comes. So I'm asking the questions. Why the same sun, before it turns into a black hole that was emitting the light with the same mass or even less mass, when it turns into a black hole, why the light cannot emit and escape? Isn't gravity is proportional to mass? This sun has the same mass or even less mass when it turns into a black hole from the original mass. Why is the light cannot escape from it? If it is proportional to mass, it has to have the same gravitational field, but black hole shows more gravitational field. Why? Then this cannot be what we know as gravity. It has to be something else. So, well, when you go in the beginning of the universe, I was reading in one book, it says in the beginning, some 15 billion years ago, that universe was 1 to the power of minus 26 zero. That's a huge number. 1 to the power of minus 26 zero, the entire universe was smaller than a nucleus of an atom. Imagine this huge universe becomes not just as a nucleus of atom, but 1 minus 26 zero smaller than the proton, than the nucleus of atom. At this point, if this is the quantum singularity, as they say, really, where are all these other energies at that point? What is energy? Energy defined in the physics as like a mortar, and the particles, matter particles, are like bricks. So this matter particle, hadrons, whatever, protons, are attached together, cemented together, related together, I should say, through the energy particles. So when in the beginning of the universe is made out of one thing, where are these internal forces? What happens when there is no, not even a proton, when there is no electron? If the electron is not in quantum singularity, therefore there is no electromagnetic force. Where is the electromagnetic force in the universe? What's happening to it at that time? Or where is it evolving from later on? So is the weak interaction, so is the strong force. Because the universe would be one matter particle, that's it, there's no two. Because it is 1 to the power of 26 zero, minus 26 zero, is smaller than the nucleus. That cannot be imagined. What kind of a particle would that be? Subparticle. I mean, a quark or anything is unimaginably smaller than anything that we know. So all I'm trying to say that in a black hole, it seems just like a mop that's full of water. When you press it, the water goes out from its foam. It seems when the sun turns on a black hole, it presses itself and the energy goes outside of the black hole and joins the gravity. That is why there is more gravity in the black hole. In that case, we could say a TOE, or theory of everything, is when the internal force, the nucleus forces inside the nucleus, joins the gravity and create a new type of